Classical civilizations, ancient Greece and Rome, 2000 BC to 400 AD. Greece. Greece during the Bronze Age. The first civilization in Greece was the Minoans, and they lived on the island of Crete in 3000 BC. They were eventually conquered by the Mycenaeans, who lived on the Greek mainland. A famous author from this time period was Homer. Homer is best known for writing the Iliad and the Odyssey, something that you will read in 10th grade, I believe. And he wrote this story to tell the story of the Trojan War. It described the height of Mycenaean warfare, and both are two long epic poems. The Greeks, as we know, were polytheistic, meaning they worshiped many gods. Politically, the Greeks structured themselves in city-states. Greeks formed their own city-states, or a polis, which is where we get the term political science, in the 800s and 700s BC. Each polis was independent with its own rulers and laws. The two most significant that you've probably heard of before were Sparta and Athens. Athens was a democracy, and it is loosely what our own democracy in the United States is based off of. In Athens, in this democracy, all citizens participated in making decisions. So if they had to come up with a new law, every single citizen, which was usually an upper-class male, would vote. Sparta, on the other hand, was ruled by a strong king and was known for its military might and for the discipline of its citizens. So when you hear the term that something is Spartan-like, that means it is very orderly, tends to be very spare, no frills, because it comes from the idea of Sparta. The Peloponnesian War broke out between Athens and Sparta. Sparta won, and the classical age in Greece is considered over at the end of the Peloponnesian War. Alexander and the spread of Hellenistic culture. Philip II of Macedon conquered Greece in 359 BC. His son Alexander succeeded him at the age of 20 after Philip was assassinated. He would later be known as Alexander the Great. So think about this. He becomes ruler of ancient Greece at age 20. Alexander immediately crushed all the rebellions that broke out in Greece after his father's death. He did this on purpose to establish his rule and his power. He then set out to expand his territory, and by 331 BC, his empire included Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Persia. Persia is modern-day Iran, and Mesopotamia is in modern-day Iraq. The Greek language and ideas would spread throughout his huge empire because as he conquered areas, his soldiers helped spread their Greek culture. His armies spread the Greek culture as they traveled, and it often blended with local culture. This blended culture, because the empire was so large, ended up having its own terminology. And so this blended culture was known as Hellenistic, which means Greek-like. Rome, the rise of Rome. Rome was originally ruled by a king, but eventually became a republic in 509 BC. Roman culture itself was distinct, but was heavily influenced by the Greeks. For example, the Romans adopted Greek gods, literature, and even some of their architecture. The Punic Wars broke out between Rome and Carthage, and eventually Carthage was destroyed. By 129 BC, Rome had expanded and controlled Macedon, Greece, and most of the land surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. And by controlling the land around the Mediterranean Sea, the Romans would then control most of the trade. Julius Caesar was a popular general who attempted to take control of Rome, but he was killed by conspirators who were afraid that he was destroying the republican form of government. Julius Caesar's grandnephew, Octavian, defeated the conspirators and made himself emperor, so he takes the term emperor. And he does this After Octavian takes the term emperor, he takes a title. He takes the title Augustus, which means revered one. His reign was the beginning of a 200-year peace for Rome and is referred to as the Pax Romana, which means Roman peace. So when they talk about the Pax Romana in ancient times in history, they're talking about this time period of Rome because it's when the Roman Empire was at its height of wealth and power and stability. Rome's fall and the rise of Christianity. At first, Christians were persecuted by the Romans. However, by the 300s, many Romans had converted to Christianity. Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity in 312 and ended the persecutions of Christians. In 391, Christianity was made the official religion of the Roman Empire by the Emperor Theodosius. Rome would fall in 476 AD after years of division caused by corruption, a failing economy, an unstable government, and invasions from Germanic tribes. This concludes the notes on ancient Greece and Rome. The following are some terms that may be helpful with correcting your spelling.